Are there new rules or considerations to take into account when purchasing your first luxury bag? Let's talk about it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Style Synonym. I'm Dita. The landscape of luxury handbag purchasing has really changed, not in small part due to the increase of exposure on social media. Demand has increased and price, both in the retail market and in the pre-loved market, have skyrocketed in kind. In the past few years of Instagram and YouTube, as people are displaying their luxury handbags, talking about them, reviewing them, people have gotten really excited, but the fashion houses have taken notice. And so those stories that I used to hear of those girls and boys who, when they got their first adult job, would scrimp and save, and then maybe they got a Christmas bonus and they would go to Chanel and buy their first classic flap. I don't know that that is possible anymore because the goalpost keeps being moved out. And even on the pre-loved market, which used to be how you could find these beautiful, luxurious bags for not quite as much money, they've caught on. And many times, depending on the bag, the pre-loved bags are more expensive than what they cost retail. I was thinking the other day about how I used to think about purchasing luxury handbags and how I would consider purchasing one now if it was my first. And I'm a big proponent of getting what you love. Even if people say it's trendy or it will become outdated or it won't go with everything, if you know your personal style, get what you love. Spend the money on what you love. And while I still ascribe to that concept, I have to say that if I were in the market now for my first luxury bag, I think that I would take more things into consideration before making my decision. What is considered to be a luxury handbag? For the purposes of this video, I have decided to define a luxury house as one whose handbags on average costs $1,500 or more. A lot of people will say more in the $2,000 range or more, but $1,500 is a hefty amount to spend on a handbag. So that is how I'm going to define it. So if you are in the market for your first luxury handbag or your 20th, and you want to talk about the things that might be worth keeping in mind, then stick around. We're going to talk about price point, materials and durability, whether the bag is considered or could be considered to be classic or trendy, the size of the bag's versatility, and brand recognition. The first and fairly obvious thing to consider is price. But if you're in the market for a luxury bag, we already know it's going to be expensive. That's a foregone conclusion. What I think has changed since I started considering luxury bags is how quickly the prices are increasing in some of these fashion houses. And because of that, I think a very important question to consider is there a price over which I will absolutely not buy a bag? No matter how much I love it, this is where I draw the line. The other thing to think about as far as pricing goes is it comfortably attainable? The vast majority of people need to save for their handbag. So part of that attainability is, do I have enough disposable income, enough money saved or whatever it is, such that if I purchase this bag, I wouldn't have to shirk my responsibilities? That seems fairly obvious. The other thing to consider is, depending on the bag that you want, is it likely that the rapid price increases will make that bag unattainable? Meaning price increases are outpacing how quickly one can save. And should I look elsewhere? An obvious example I can think of is Chanel, their classic flap that has undergone unmatched price increases in the last few years. If somebody was thinking about purchasing that bag when it was $5,500 for the jumbo, and they started putting money away for it, and now they're watching these price increases and we're hitting $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, I think the jumbo might be pushing 11 grand retail. A decision needs to be made. Even if that is your dream bag, are we getting to the point where the price is just not something I'm willing to exceed? Or is it just no longer attainable? The other thing to think about as far as pricing is cost per wear. So if you purchase something expensive, but you use that thing dang near every single day, one could very easily argue that the high price is justifiable. So even if the price of a bag feels a little crazy, if the bag that you're considering is something that you know that you would wear every single day, rain or shine, that will certainly drive down the cost per wear and make that high price tag worth considering. The last thing about price to think about is whether how much the bag costs will make you afraid to wear it. So it's natural to be more careful with things that are more expensive. But if you've spent $5, $6, $7,000 on a bag, do you think that you would be able to wear it? Would you be okay wearing it outside? Not even necessarily because of any attention it might attract, just considering the normal bumping into things, people spilling drinks, the potential for scratches and dents, the potential of it falling off the table and hitting the ground. Or is there a certain price point above which you could fairly confidently say, I will never wear this bag out? One might decide that a bag at a particular price point isn't worth it because they would just be too afraid to actually use it. Another thing to consider, material and durability. This ties into how the bag is going to be used. What is your lifestyle? How are you as a person? Do you live a more casual or formal lifestyle? Are you a parent of small children? Will the bag be used roughly or gingerly? Are you careful with your things, or are you more carefree? And how upset would you be with scratches on the bag or even normal wear and tear? I can't make a handbag video without there being some eye candy. So I have some examples of what I'm talking about. So if you decide that you want a leather handbag, there are so many options out there. If you know that you want a durable leather, Chanel Caviar is one that's touted to be quite durable. Another leather to think about is goat skin. And Givenchy's goat skin bags are so hard wearing. This is an example of one. This is the Pandora bag. I love this thing. It used to be very, very popular. I cannot remember the last time I heard anybody talk about it or have even seen one, but I wear this thing a lot. It is fabulous. But this leather, you can see here, it's pebbled, it's smushy. This is a quite old bag and there is not even any corner wear. It's such a hard wearing bag. At the height of its popularity, I think, I don't even want to hazard a guess because it was so long ago, but I feel like this bag was maybe in the 2000s. I got mine pre-loved. And if you really loved that bag and you felt that this fit your lifestyle, just given how durable this thing is, that could easily be one of the justifications for such a hefty price tag. If you're not set on leather or you don't want leather for other reasons, but you still know that you want a very durable bag, coated canvas is a very good option. And of course, Louis Vuitton is probably the first thing that comes to most people's minds. This is the Louis Vuitton Ava clutch. And I believe this was my very first luxury bag. And I got it fairly soon after my post-grad work. This is in the Damier Ebene coated canvas. Look how, it's pretty indestructible. I've had this for close to 15 years and there's no wear on this bag except maybe some scratches on the hardware, which is another thing that might bother people. But as far as the durability of the bag itself, coated canvas is a very good option, especially in the Damier Ebene because the leather is glazed. It's not the vachetta leather that's on the monogram print. So that's a second layer of durability. Now, if you're a much more careful person than I am, and you still don't want leather, and you don't like the sheen of coated canvas, there are luxury canvas bags that are uncoated. The two that come to mind are the Chanel Deauville and the Dior Book Tote. Those are two bags that I would never consider because uncoated canvas paired with my disastrous nature, I'm always tripping and knocking things over, I would have that thing dirty in a second. Some people want a leather bag and they know they're very careful, or they just love the look of a smooth leather like a lambskin or a box leather. Some of those people don't mind scratches and some of those people do. An example of one of these is this. This is the Celine box tote. It's actually the Celine classic bag in box leather because this bag actually comes in a pebbled leather, but the popular lexicon was just to refer to this as the box bag. So I'll bring it in closer. You can see some scratching on the leather here and here. It is a very delicate leather. Here, I don't know what this is. I'll have to deal with that later, but you can see scratches and denting. Despite the fact that I have said in other videos that I really love a worn in, relaxed looking bag, this is an exception to that rule. It actually drives me really crazy how scratched up this has gotten. Not to the point that I won't wear it because I love this thing. This is actually my favorite silhouette of bag ever, which is interesting because theoretically it shouldn't be my style. I don't know. I'm a conundrum. But it does really bother me that this gets so scratched up because I just love how beautiful and smooth this leather looks. This being my absolute favorite silhouette, but knowing how much I dislike seeing this bag get scratched up, I actually don't know that now me would consider getting this bag, knowing what I know. Really thinking about the things that bother you, your behaviors, and whether or not that will make a purchase of a luxury bag less justifiable is something really to consider. Other fabrications of bags that you might want to stay away from if you are looking for something that's truly durable or that you can wear all the time to bring down the cost per wear are satin bags, and which I guess would be kind of an uncoated canvas, and anything bejeweled because of the risk of those beads falling off. To me, this is one of the most beautiful bags in my entire collection. Look at her. Oh my gosh. And that sparkle, the way it catches the light. This is my Lady Dior, the mini size. It is in this gorgeous cobalt blue satin, and the handles are bejeweled. I absolutely love this, but this is probably the bag that I am the most precious with. It's satin, right? Satin is not very easy to clean. And I mean, frankly, if anything happened, I would just send it to Dior and ask them to deal with it. But if I took this out and somebody spilled something on it, I kicked a guy in the back of his leg for stepping on my shoe at a bar. I cannot imagine what I would do if somebody spilled something on this bag. And because of that, I have a really hard time wearing it. Do I regret buying it? No, I have it. And I love her. I think she's so stunning. But would this be a good first bag to get? Satin, beaded, high potential for damage? That's obviously a decision one needs to make for themselves, but I would probably steer away from it for those reasons. Third thing to think about, is the bag classic or trendy? And does that matter? So when considering whether or not you consider a bag to be classic or trendy, one thing definitely to think about is your style, your own personal style. Some people have a fairly neutral color palette when it comes to their clothing, and they use the handbags as their pop of color. So they want something bright and bold and fun. If your style is more flamboyant, if you love bold colors, sequin, shoulder pads, if you have more of a maximalist vibe, bags that people consider trendy might be right up your alley. That might be the perfect bag for you. So when considering classic versus trendy, one really has to take their personal style into consideration and realize that it might be different from what all of the other people are saying. The other thing to think about when considering whether or not a bag is classic or trendy is resale value, and if that matters to you. For some people, that is very, very important. And more conventionally classic bags tend to hold their value more than conventionally trendy bags. If resale value is very important to you, there are definitely bags that fare better than others. So as far as a bag that really holds on to its resale value, especially now, this is the Chanel Classic Flap in the medium size, especially with the price increases. If I sold this bag for the prices I'm seeing on the resale market, I would make damn near twice what I paid for it. Actually, maybe even more than twice what I paid for it. Because the style is so classic, it lends itself to holding on to its value. These are two more examples of classic bags. This is a vintage Gucci Jackie, and this is some people would call this vintage now. For me, a vintage bag is a bag that's 20 years old or older. And I believe this bag is maybe 15 years old. I have to look at the receipt again. I think the general consensus would be that this is classic. I got this pre-loved, and it has you can see some wrinkling here. I've already found somebody who can repair this for me. I just need to send it out. Despite this bag being generally considered classic, for me, it actually doesn't fit into my wardrobe as well as other bags do because it is so ladylike. Despite it being considered classic, for somebody like me, if I were buying this brand new, it might not be worth the spend. This, on the other hand, I think is generally considered classic. Some people would consider it to be less classic just because of how edgy it is. But I would venture to say that this is a quite classic bag. And for me, it is very classic. This fits very seamlessly into my wardrobe. When I got this, I had a hard time coming out of it because it just worked with everything. So this is an example of a bag that is classic in the handbag world and classic to my personal style. A bag that I think nearly everyone would say is trendy is the Balenciaga Kagol bag that was super popular. It was everywhere for a while. And then I have an example of a bag that, again, was incredibly popular. I cannot remember the last time I saw this bag on anybody or heard about it. I still wear mine because I love it, but even I would say that this was a trendy bag. And this is her. This is the Chloe Drew. Do you guys remember this? I absolutely love this bag. I think it is so beautiful. The strap makes it look like you're wearing jewelry. But given how much this thing cost new, I mean, you can get it for pennies on the dollar on the resale market nowadays. Would something like this have been worth the spend? Again, it depends. The answer to all these questions is that it depends. In this day and age, I don't know that I would purchase a trendier bag as one of my very first luxury bags. The next thing I would think about is size, and that ties directly into how you envision using the bag. So with my job, I wouldn't dare use a luxury bag for work. All of my work bags have been very durable mid-range bags. So I actually don't have an example of a luxury bag that I would use for work, but some examples of these would be the Louis Vuitton Neverfull in the or GM size, the Goyard St. Louis tote. This bag I really love. The Todd's, what is it called? It's not the T-Lock, that's Totem. The Todd's I think Timeless bag. This bag is so beautiful. Even some of the Rimowa backpacks would make an excellent work bag. All of these bags that I've mentioned, depending of course on what fabrication you get, are not only on the larger side, but they're incredibly durable. Now, say you want your first bag to be a going out bag, something that you take to brunch, to dinner, to date nights, that type of thing. So if that is one of the main things that you're considering for a luxury bag purchase, things like the Chanel classic flaps in the small or mini sizes, if you can even find them. The Gucci Dionysus does a beautiful wallet on chain, as does Chanel. The YSL Toy Lulus are beautiful. The Loewe Flamenco tote in the mini size, that is a beautiful bag. These are bags that are quite compact, some of which have delicate leathers, but because they wouldn't be used as frequently and people tend to be more careful with the items that they use for dressing up, durability can actually be less of a consideration. My example in this genre of bag is this cutie. I cannot tell you, one, how much I love this bag, and two, how much I use it. A lot of people were getting the Bottega Veneta mini Jodies in a neutral color for going out, especially black. Beautiful bag. For me, very hard to get in and out of. This is the Row 90s bag. Splendiferous. My crazy big phone, which is one of the biggest ones that Samsung makes, fits in here. And that's really important to me because I don't always have my phone in my hand. I don't want it in my hand. I don't want it on the table. If I'm out with people, I just want it away. But if it's not in the bag, I will almost certainly lose it. So that is a consideration for me. This is something that I would, if you're in the market for a luxury bag for going out, that I would consider. It is an incredible bag. I actually use this during the day because it fits my phone. I can fit my keys in here, a lotion, hand sanitizer. This is a small but mighty bag. And even though it's only top handle, because it's so small and it's so lightweight, I can put this on the crook of my arm and reach for things off the top shelf, push a cart, open and close doors. It's so carefree. Any hoodle, all of that to say that I would like to recommend that if you're in the market for a beautiful and versatile going out bag, this is definitely one to consider, and I think would be an excellent first luxury bag purchase. Most people who are in the market for their first luxury bag usually want something that can be used every day, again, to drive that cost per wear down. Things that make, in my opinion, a good everyday bag are a bag that is big enough to fit everything you need for the day, such that you wouldn't have to sacrifice a must-have item, but that also is not so big that it is cumbersome. A great example of this is the Loewe puzzle bag in the medium size or the small size. The small size can fit so much. Fabulous. Medium is quite a bit bigger, but I don't think so big to make people wonder if you're skipping town or something. Great bag. This bag used to be so popular. It is still one of my favorite bags in my collection, and it is the YSL Collège. Is this the medium or large? This might be the large size. Even though it is a larger bag, its slim profile makes it such that I don't feel like it's getting in the way. You can carry it in multiple ways. So it has a top handle and it comes with a strap that's in the bag. So that's great for shifting weight around if you have things to do. You can even turn this into a crossbody bag if you add a bag strap. The leather is textured. YSL's leather I find to be incredibly durable, including their lambskin. Very, very durable. I think that's important for an everyday bag. I feel like the popularity of the Collège was overtaken by the Lulu. The Collège is still being made, I believe. I will make sure, but I'm pretty sure this is still being made. This is one of the best bags ever designed, in my opinion. Another example of a bag that work incredibly as everyday bags is basically any camera bag. Any camera bag. In particular, the Gucci Soho Disco, but all of the fashion houses have them. Basically, any camera bag would be an incredible first luxury bag if the point of the bag for you is everyday use. But the other example that I want to give for a bag that would be great for everyday, because it's pretty diminutive, but I can fit so much, the Fendi Peekaboo Mini. In my opinion, one of the greatest bags ever made. Fight me. Fight me if you want to. This is a perfect bag. It has to be in the, oh gosh, what are the name of the styles? Napa is the squidgiest and my favorite. There's also the Celeria, which has the seams on the outside, which is similar to the Hermes Cellier. And there are other styles of the Fendi Peekaboo, but I have and love number one. That is my absolute favorite. For me, the perfect everyday bag is the softer style. Because the leather is so soft, it expands to fit everything I could ever need for the day. This is what it looks like on the inside. I don't know why I'm giving a review. I just love this bag so much. But it is so small that it never gets in the way. And it comes with an adjustable crossbody strap, so you can wear it as a shoulder bag. You can wear it as a crossbody bag, obviously. And it has this top handle. If you are in the market for a luxury bag to use every day that you want to make sure will be worth the money, Fendi Peekaboo. Obviously, you don't have to get it in a cobalt blue with hot pink. That's just me. That's my personality. But they come in an array of colors, blacks, browns, grays. I mean, the world is your oyster. This is I'm putting it down. It's one of the best bags ever. Now, say you are in the market for a luxury bag to use primarily for travel. So things that would be important to you are size. Does it fit a lot? Durability. Even carry-on bags suffer a lot of abuse on an airplane or on a train, especially if you're needing to shove the bag underneath the seat in front of you. And that's another consideration. Is it made in such a way that I can put it under the seat in front of me and not worry about the integrity of the bag being ruined? I remember a lot of people were talking about traveling with the Dior book tote, and I never understood how that was possible because it's such a stiff bag. How are you getting that under the seat? Maybe all of those people were flying first class. I don't know. But that for me is not a bag that I could use for travel. The Chanel XXL flap, great for travel. Loewe puzzle, there's an XL size, excellent. Oh, there's the Loewe puzzle fold, which I've never seen in person, but I have admired it on Loewe's site. My example of a luxury bag that I use for travel is a bit on the ridiculous side, but I love it and I don't care. This is my example of a luxury travel bag. This is the Saint Laurent E-Care tote. I need to gather my thoughts. It is perfection. I think I mentioned earlier in this video that I find Saint Laurent's lambskin to be very durable. I find it to be very scratch resistant, wear resistant. I feel like Chanel's lambskin, dense if you look at it the wrong way, some of them, but this has been underneath seats in front of me, on top of suitcases. It's been in the overhead bin. It's had stuff put on top of it. It's been crushed. It's been folded. Look at how beautiful this is. Look at it. Now, the thing about traveling with totes is things can tumble out if you're not careful, but this bag has several built-ins that make it such that that won't happen. One is this zipper pocket is huge. The other thing is this pouch, which is attached to the bag. I mean, you can unclip it from the bag, but this pouch and that zipper pocket are two things that you can use to secure items that are more valuable or maybe even more delicate. One of the things that I will do and that I love that this bag comes with, there's no zipper, but you can take this chain that's attached to the pouch and feed it through this hole here. And I can do that even when this bag is packed. Okay, so it looks like that. So it's much more compact. It would be much harder for somebody to get their hands in there. And if you have your valuables in that zipper pocket or in the pouch, nobody is getting to those. So do I think that it is reasonable to purchase a Saint Laurent Iker tote as your first luxury bag if the purpose of it is for travel? I don't think it's not reasonable. The next thing that's worth thinking about when considering a luxury handbag purchase is versatility. And I think about versatility in two ways. One is the number of ways it can be carried, and the other is how well it transitions from day to night. So as far as carrying modes, a bag that enables you to go from top handle or crook of the arm to shoulder to crossbody speaks to the versatility. And truth be told, in this day and age, with the advent of bag straps that you can get from so many companies, if a bag nowadays has D-rings, it is versatile. But if you want a bag with the carrying modes already built in, there are some to consider. One is the Louis Vuitton Pochette Métis. That bag is fabulous. It comes with a top handle and it comes with an adjustable strap. Another great example, the Celine luggage bag in the nano size. This is highly versatile. It'd probably be more versatile for most people if it wasn't in this bright orange. Again, they run the gamut of colors. So if you prefer a neutral, you can definitely get this in a neutral. So this bag can be carried as a top handle. It can't really be fit in the crook of the arm. So it's really a top handle bag. And then it comes with a crossbody strap. Caveat, the crossbody strap that this bag comes with, although removable, it is not adjustable. This was from the Phoebe Philo era. I haven't looked at the more recent luggage totes or the luggage totes that came under Edis Lemain. Maybe those straps are adjustable. I don't know. And again, it's kind of a moot point because even if you get this bag and you don't like where the strap falls, you can get a strap that better suits. And in fact, I don't carry this bag with the strap that it came with because even though I don't mind the length on me, I don't like how thin the strap is. So nevertheless, this is a bag that comes with the ability to carry it in different ways, thereby making the bag much more versatile. The GOAT in versatile luxury bags, hands down, the Loewe puzzle, in particular, the old style. This bag can be worn 5 different ways. Quick story. Several years ago, I did a trip through Europe and Africa of 6 countries. And this is one of 2 bags that I took. I took my LV Ava clutch for a dressier bag. And then this is the bag that I carried the entire almost 3 weeks that I was gone. I carried it every single day. And it worked so well as a travel bag or as an everyday bag because I could redistribute the weight in so many ways. So you can carry this as a top handle and crook of the arm. That's one way. It comes with a removable and adjustable strap. So you can carry it as a shoulder bag or crossbody. That's ways 2 and 3. Because the strap is removable, you can carry this as a clutch. Probably wouldn't work as well. I bet some people would carry this as a clutch. It would probably work better with the smaller bag, but that's way 4. And the 5th way, and my favorite way, is slung on your back as a backpack. So the thing that sets the initial iteration of the puzzle bag from the rest of them is this ring on the bottom and the feet. They stopped doing that as well. I'm not entirely sure why. But if you clip one strap here and the other strap to that ring on the bottom, let me see if I can show you. You can. You now have this bag tucked away on your back. And this is how I carried it when I was riding a bike through the streets of Lisbon. The bag stayed put. It was so comfortable. And I just thought to myself, this Loewe puzzle bag is it. So for versatility, this bag wins out. And if that is very important to you, I think the Loewe puzzle, especially the initial iteration, which you can only get on the pre-loved market now, is worth considering. Another versatility consideration is whether the bag transitions well from day to night. So you might be somebody who takes a purse to work so that you have your wallet, your keys, et cetera, in there. If your lifestyle is somebody who also likes to get drinks or happy hour or whatnot after work or school, having a bag that carries everything that you need during the day that will still make sense as an evening bag might be your top versatility priority. Bags that fit this bill. The Louis Vuitton Ava clutch that I showed earlier in this video. Its shape and its ability to expand make it such that you can pack a lot in there. The Loewe puzzle bag in the small size, the Celine Triomphe bags would be a good option. The Lady Dior D-Joy, so the oblong one, I think that would be a great bag. I believe that bag comes with a strap, if I am not mistaken, and the length makes it such that you can definitely fit a phone in there. I have never seen one in person, but just from the videos that I've seen, I'm sure that I could fit my hand sanitizer, my lotion. Like, it would be a good everyday bag, depending on the material it's made out of. Don't get cobalt blue satin. And then the Gucci Jackie in the small or medium size, probably leaning more towards a smaller size. I think that would be an excellent bag. The leathers on some of them are soft enough that even with the small ones, they expand to fit quite a lot. So I think that would be another option. And the last consideration is brand and brand recognition. I think this category requires some introspection because I think there is some shame around people who really only want bags from certain houses. I don't see a problem with that. If that's what you like, for whatever reason you like it, who cares? But I think this is something that one really needs to think about. Is there a fashion house that you have a particular affinity to? Did you grow up reading magazines about Chanel? Do you know everything there is to know about Hermes? Do you know in your heart of hearts that if you didn't get a bag from one of those houses, you would not be satisfied? The other thing is brand recognition. It would be delusional to think that some of the appeal of having a luxury bag isn't people recognizing that bag, maybe coming up to you and talking to you about it, fawning over it, asking to hold it, taking pictures of it. That tends to happen with bags that are recognized more so than bags that aren't. Not that it doesn't happen when people don't recognize a bag, because a beautiful bag is a beautiful bag, but you know what I mean. One needs to consider whether or not the attention a particular brand brings to you or might bring to you is important to you. It's definitely something to consider. For some people, it's not important at all, but for some people, that is very important. And I think if you're going to spend the money, you might as well get exactly what you want. So I would think of this in a couple of ways. First of all, if you have an affinity to a brand, you know that you love a brand, you know that you've always dreamed of owning a bag from a particular brand, you probably want to spend your money getting a bag from that brand. Now, is your love for the brand bag specific or is it just brand specific? So would you be happy with a lesser known bag within a brand that you absolutely love? Or would you be much more satisfied having a more recognized bag? So for instance, I think about the Hermes Lindy, the Garden Party. These are classic bags within the brand that aren't often spoken about and that are not readily recognized, but they might be bags that you want to go for. One, because they might be slightly easier to get and you would still be able to get your piece of the brand. Another example of this, the Roe Margot bag, everywhere. I just noticed, there's a little desk that sits over there, which is where I edit videos. And I just did something over there and I just realized that the blanket that I use is sitting right there in my shot. Anyway, I'm not re-recording whatever it is that I just said where that was in the shot, but let me just go move it. Okay, what was I saying? I was talking about the Roe and about the Roe Margot bag being very recognizable, especially if you love handbags. Is that important to you? Do you have a love for that particular bag within that brand? Do you like the connotations that might come with people knowing that you're carrying a Roe Margot bag? Or do you just love the brand and you'd be happy with most any bag within that range, like the India bag or the Devon bag? These are bags that are rarely spoken of. So chances are that brand recognition would not be there if you got some of those. You have to decide whether or not that's important. Another one that I just thought of, Fendi. A lot of Fendi's bags are quite recognizable because they're so sparkly, like the sequin baguettes. And the baguette is just an iconic shape, or they have the Zucca print on them, or they have just a highly recognizable shape, even if it's not a classic bag like the Fendi First. But there are bags within the brand that I think would not be as easily recognized. So the origami bag. Have you seen this thing? It is so cool. I would love to see it in person. I've seen maybe a video about it. I've just looked at pictures mostly, but just the concept of the different shapes that you can put that bag in, I think is very cool. Another line within that brand that I think of is what is it called? The By the Way. Great bag. Love that bag. Nobody really talks about it. So I don't think readily recognizable. And then when thinking about brands, there are so many incredibly luxury handbag brands out there that are rarely discussed. They're not very popular. They fly under the radar, but the leathers are impeccable. The stitching is chef's kiss. The colors are saturated, and the bags are so beautiful that you might get some attention because the bag is just so stunning, but they're not from brands that people who aren't really, really into bags or into those particular brands would readily know. Examples would be Ralph Lauren collection, beautiful bags. I think most people, well, maybe not, know that Ralph Lauren, I mean, there's so many different lines. There's Ralph Lauren collection, there's Polo Ralph Lauren, there's RL, or what is it? RL. And all of those come at different price points. The most luxurious is Ralph Lauren collection. Despite those bags being incredibly luxurious, they may not be easily recognizable. So if you are somebody who wants that brand recognition or who wants to purchase within a particular brand or a more popular brand, they might not suit. But if you're somebody who just wants a really luxurious bag, then it definitely would. Other examples, Delvaux. There are few bags better on the market. I would venture to say that those are some of the most incredibly made bags I have ever had my hands on. I had the pleasure of I'd never seen a standalone Delvaux store. I didn't even know they existed. And when I was in Brussels, they were everywhere. Well, everywhere. But I saw at least two, and I think maybe three. But I walked in and I got to hold a bag called the Tempête, the bigger one. Oh, God, I love it so much. And the Lango. Stunning. I would happily own those. They are quite pricey. So it would need to be a very, 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 very special occasion. But man, stunning. Oh, the other thing. Oh my gosh, I just remember this. I'm sorry, I keep going off on a tangent. The Bouillon bag. I think that's their most popular. When I hear people talk about Delvaux, that is a style I typically see them discussing. I saw that bag completely encrusted in Swarovski crystals. If I can find the picture of it, I will post it. The picture that I took, or I think I took a video because it was spinning, stunning. And the sales associate actually offered to let me have a closer look, and I actually refused. I was like, I can't, no. Faré Lapage, this is another brand that has been around for centuries. They make beautiful bags. I think people recognize them for having a silhouette of something resembling a gun on the front because the company used to make accessories for guns. That's how the brand originated. Actually, I think they used to make guns. I think they used to make artillery. And then they added accoutrement to carry your guns and whatnot. And now I think they still do that, but they also have these beautiful handbags. They're not very readily recognizable. They have a tote that's beautiful. I've seen a couple people mistake it for a Goyard bag. It is not Goyard. Beautiful bags that I don't see talked about. The last one that I actually think it's criminal that people aren't talking about more is Todd's. Todd's handbags are the truth. There are a couple of bags. I mentioned one earlier, the Tea Timeless Tote, beautiful. And one of my favorite bags in my collection is a Todd's bag. It is this one. I can't tell you how much I love this bag. I think it did gain some popularity years ago. This is no longer in production. It would have to be purchased on the pre-loved market. This is the Wave bag, and mine is in the small size. I do have on my running handbag wish list a desire to get this in one of the larger sizes, but the craftsmanship, first of all, Todd's leather, impeccable, illustrious, delicious, perfect. The design of their bags, they put so much thought into it, but nobody would know what this was. I carry this very often, And not one time has anybody ever said, oh, is that a Todd's? Is that a Todd's wave? I do get a lot of people loving the color or asking me who makes the bag because they love the shape of it. They love this studding here, which I also love. The shape is very unusual. So yeah, I do get a lot of questions about this bag, but I have never had anybody say, oh, is that a Todd's? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So I say all that to say, really think about what is important to you as far as a luxury brand. If you want it to be from one of the more popular houses, there's no sense in even though this is gorgeous, or any Todd's bag or Ralph Lauren collection or Delvaux, there's no sense in spending the money on that if you know in your heart of hearts you really want the experience of purchasing from one of the more popular brands. Conversely, if you're somebody who doesn't want people to recognize the brands of your bag, but you want to be the one who knows how luxury it is, and you want to be the one who knows how long you saved to get the bag, and you want to be the one who knows how beautiful the craftsmanship is, and you don't care if anybody else knows or even realizes, there are several brands within the luxury space that fit that bill. Whew, that was a blibbity blabbity video. Did I leave anything out? I mean, I don't know how I could have left anything out with how long this video probably is, but did I leave anything out? Are there any other things to consider that you consider when purchasing any handbag, but especially a luxury handbag? If you found this video to be helpful or interesting or entertaining or useful, or if you liked the eye candy, please like this video and feel free to share. I would love that. I'm getting close to 10 videos up. At the filming of this video, I think I have 7 videos up. I don't remember what I was saying because my husband just came home from work and I got distracted. What was I saying? Oh, yes. At the filming of this video, I think I have 7 videos posted. So we haven't quite hit the 10 video milestone yet, but I'm getting close. Very excited about that. Okay, that is it. I hope with all of that everybody has a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.